Okay, Introduction to Java, recorded lesson 1. The first thing that you're going to do, and some of you have done it already, is log into Canvas. If you click the Home tab on the left, you should see a screen that looks kind of like this, which is pretty much all of the modules and the lessons that we're going to do over the course of the class. The, um, the syllabus isn't here, but I'm going to email the syllabus to everybody. And the first thing you need to do is take a look at system setup. The system setup is a PDF document that not only walks you through how to get Java installed on your machine, but also how to install the IntelliJ program, which will be the editor that we're going to use to work both with Java and with Java Spring Boot. So once you get that first 1.00 setting up your environment, then you can stop with the document for right now, because the rest of it is dealing with stuff that we're not going to get to until later in the class. But this is just to install Git, which is the version control software, Heroku, JDK, and the IntelliJ IDEA onto your machine. And once you're rebooted, then you'll be ready for the first lesson. So the first lesson, you're going to read this document on core Java, and when you take a look at your first Java program, it's going to talk about what you need to create a Java program. Now the instructions are about Eclipse, but Eclipse and IntelliJ are very closely related, so don't worry about it. I'll update it at some point. But basically, this is what your basic program should look like. And to walk you through it, once you have Java and IntelliJ installed, what you would do is you would double click on the IntelliJ icon that's probably installed on your desktop. And let me go ahead and close this project. And you'll see a screen that looks kind of like this, except this part on the side should probably be empty for you. It should look like this if it's the first time you're running it. You're going to click Create New Project. Now, before we go any farther, on your new project, you should see about midway down on the left-hand side, Spring Initializer. If Spring Initializer isn't listed there, then you didn't install the right version of IntelliJ. You installed IntelliJ Community instead of IntelliJ Enterprise. Let me know so we can get that fixed for you. However, if you see that there, you can go ahead and click Java at the very top. We'll deal with Spring Initialize later. And what it should show is your project SDK. It should have something listed. If it says no SDK found, again, something isn't installed properly, let me know and we can get you set up first thing on Monday. But assuming everything is okay there, you're going to click Next. You're going to create a project from template, and you're going to say you want a command line app. Click Next and give it a name, and I'm going to call mine First Program. You can call yours whatever you want, and click Finish. And once it's done, it'll give you a window that looks like this. Now on the left is going to be all of the files that you create for your program, and on the right is going to be an editor that shows you the contents of those files. So right now I'm looking at a file called main.java, which is listed over here. That's the same file that's represented here. Package, class, and public static void main are stuff that we're going to get into later. For right now, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, all of our programs are going to have that. Don't worry about it. We're just going to replace this part in the middle where it says write your code here. So instead of that, what we're going to put is system.out.println and something along the lines of hello world. And if you do that and you hit the run button up here at the top, you can see it down at the bottom. It says building, parsing, scanning, finishing. It worked really quickly, and then it should show you this is the program that we just ran, java.exe, and then it should show us hello world, which is the statement that we told it to say. At that point, you've written your first Java program and you've suitably executed it. If you wanted to share this program or submit it, what we need you to do is then take this program and submit it to GitHub. So you were supposed to install Git on your machine. You also need to go create a GitHub account if you don't have one already. So you would go to github.com, sign up, and then once you're signed up and logged in, you should see something that looks kind of like this. And what you want to do is create a new repository. So if you create a new repository called my first home keys, my first repo, the check will tell you, the check mark is telling you that you don't already have a repository that has the same name, but we'll get into that later. Leave it public and initialize it with a README and create a repository. And a repository is basically a folder for a project or file or a book. People use GitHub for all kinds of reasons. We'll get into what GitHub is later. But once you've done that, you've created your first repository. And if I go back to my profile, I can see a list of all the repositories I have. You should only have one. I have 183. I've been doing this for a minute. But that's the basics of what we're going to be doing. Now inside of IntroToJavaClass, the way that we can work with GitHub is if we go to the VCS menu and pull down to import into version control, we can share project on GitHub. Okay? And once we click that, it's going to load your account information. For me, it's loading my account information because I have the account already set up. You don't probably have an account set up. So in order to get your account set, in order to configure IntroToJavaClass to work with your GitHub account, you're going to want to go to File, Settings, Version Control, GitHub, and under GitHub, you would hit the plus, and then you would type in the user ID and the password that you just created for GitHub, and then you would hit login and would create an identity for you. Now I have more than one GitHub account, so I have more than one listed. For you, if you just, in fact, let me make it easy on you. So if we go to settings, I'll go here and let me delete this account from inside of my IntroToJavaClass so you can see what it would look like for you. So once I have my account, I have my program done. Yours isn't done yet. You need to finish the rest of the lesson, but once you're done, let me show you what you would do. You would go to VCS, import into version control, share project on GitHub, and you have to give it a name. And once you've given it a name, you can just click share. And then what it'll do is it'll give you this window that's saying, okay, there's all of these files that haven't been saved yet. Do you want to save them all? And what is the message that you want to use? The message is every time you save something, you generally use a message for GitHub to say what it was that you changed. You might say, finally fixed the problem with the print command, or they're still having a problem with the math, or whatever. Any rate, the default initial message is initial commit. That's fine for the first time. We click add, which is what saves it to GitHub, to Git. And then if it's successfully pushed, it'll give us a link that'll show us that in our GitHub, we now have this repository for first program. That's what I called my project, first program. And inside there is all the code that I just submitted. So main.java system.out.println hello world, just as I saved it. Okay, got it? So what you need to do is you need to do the first Java program assignment, submit it to GitHub, and then on Canvas you would say submit assignment, and inside this text entry you are going to grab the URL of your repo. So see how I have this address here? You can share that address with anyone and they'll be able to see your code. So I'm going to paste that into my text entry box and I'm going to submit the assignment. And then it'll, once you're done, it'll tell you that your assignment has been submitted. And this is what we're going to have to do with every program that we create, is we put it in GitHub to save it, and then we submit the GitHub link inside Canvas. And then when I take a look at your details, I'll be able to click on that link and see your code so I can grade it. Okay, does that make sense? Cool. So you are going to need to get your system set up. It would be really helpful if you went through over using Git and Git walkthrough and creating a GitHub account. The rest of it you can wait till later. So using Git talks about the Git service. So GitHub is based on a program called Git. And Git is what actually does the saving. And GitHub is an external drive that you can save to so that you can have a copy of your code that isn't just on your machine. So you need to take a look at those three things. Using Git walkthrough, create a GitHub account, and then jump down to core Java in your first Java program and go ahead and submit your program, and we'll be good to go for Monday. Okay? Have a good weekend.